After things settled down, you saw, to me, the brilliance of Brian Daboll. And the Giants won that game against Cleveland. It's not very good, but it doesn't matter. Giants won that game, BT, because of coaching. Whether it's Daboll offensively and the play calling, which I thought was a thing of beauty early on, or Bowens with the defensive game plan going in, that's all coaching. The Giants were able to beat a team that they were, roughly 6.5-point underdogs, go into Cleveland and get their first victory of the year. That, to me, shows why you should believe in Brian Daboll.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. I mean, listen, the Giants were 2 to 3 minutes away from this being a bloodbath all day on the station. And we all know you want, fumble, touchdown, 3 and out. I mean, just they jump off sides, 3rd and 2 for the Browns. So when you say that, it's all about Daboll, I know what you mean because they did win. They didn't look ready to play the game. That's also on the coach, but that doesn't matter because they did so much well and so much good, I should say, to overcome that eye-openingly poor start. When a team is good in this city, right? We kind of, just given the nature of who we are, we look for cracks in the foundation. Like, why can't this team do what we want them to do? And conversely, when a team is really, really struggling and showing signs of going the wrong way, we try to find something that we can latch onto that says, okay, maybe this is the reason why it could become better. And to your point, I think Daboll's definitely one of those reasons why it could become better. The defense, now I'm like, this is the defense that I thought was going to start the season.
Right.
So the Giants, everything changed on a dime. And, I think, and this goes to Daboll, going for it, all right, down 7-zip. You can talk about the Jones interception, which was negated by the 15-yard penalty, whatever. I mean, if it was the right call. But if there's no penalty there, I think the Giants lose. Right. I mean, because at that point, I think it's just it's a totally different game. Daboll goes for it. They get the first down. They tie it up. Nabers shows the entire world how amazing he is. It's an absolute season saver, and it might change the narrative for the Giants.
Well, the play calling, though, to me, was the key on that first drive. And you talk about going for it. Not only did I feel it was the right decision in the moment, but how about the play that he had ready to go? Like, that's not something that just happens. Oh, crap, here we go. Let's get this play in. That's something that they knew game planning against the Cleveland defense, that if we get in a short situation, 4th down and short, whatever it is, we're going to run this play with Malik Nabers right there. There was creativity. You could just feel it. And I'm not trying to be an offensive coordinator or get caught up in specific play calling, but you just feel it watching that game that there was brilliant play calling and a brilliant game plan. Now, the execution wasn't great by the Giants a lot of the time. We'll get to that as we go on here. But to me, the game plan going in and then the play calling from both sides of the ball, that's why the Giants were able to beat Cleveland, who, that crowd was stunned. And, even though Cleveland has some talent, we heard about their defense and whatever. Deshaun Watson, I know, looks lost, but that was a brilliant game plan by the Giants, and they were able to go there and steal a win. And look, that's a big deal here. 0-3, you're talking about everybody being fired, everybody on the hot seat. All of a sudden, they get a win like that, and now you start to think, all right, well, maybe there's some, like, if you were a believer in this Giants team with me, they had to win that game, and they did, and I think it was strictly because of Brian Daboll.
I mean, listen, anytime you're 7-point dogs and you win the game, it's a massive tip of the cap. It's really, again, it's a season saver. It's a complete opposite. Let's just say, and they tried to lose, well, I don't say they tried to lose that game, but they were trending in a direction that was getting a little precarious in that second half. It was getting a little dicey there. But they won the game. But imagine if it was the converse to what we actually had. Instead of walking off the field the winner, the Giants walk off the field the loser. Where are we today? It's the complete, it's a meltdown. Everybody's screaming. There's just, do this and do that and bench this and fire that. And this guy's not the guy. It really is amazing. That's why the NFL, unlike baseball, the NFL really is the day after a game. There's just nothing like it.
Right.
Because when you win, everything feels stabilized, and when you lose, it feels like everything's imploding. Generally, the answer is somewhere in between, but, the Giants have a chance to piece this together a little bit. We'll do this more later, but Dallas looks vulnerable, short week. They got to travel here. Philly looks a little more vulnerable. They had 3 points for 3 hours. I know they won the game, but the Eagles didn't exactly look very good yesterday. So today, really, to me, the first time all year, since the season started, during the summer, if you're a Giants fan, I'm not saying you're walking around saying, let's book Super Bowl tickets here, but you don't feel like you're so far beneath the radar of relevance here. Like, the Giants look, in certain spots, the Giants looked awesome.
Correct.
They actually, in certain spots, they looked fantastic.
And they should be 2-1. Now, I know shoulda, coulda, woulda, but if you actually just set back, aside from the results, and I heard Daboll talk about that yesterday in the postgame, the results may vary. Unfortunately, it's a results-oriented business. We get that. But when you're overreacting to a Week 2 loss because of what happened Week 1, what we thought Minnesota was is totally different than what Minnesota is. Okay, so Week 1, you could almost throw out and just say, hey, the Giants weren't ready. They're not on the level of Minnesota, and Minnesota's certainly better than what we thought. Week 2, the Giants should have won that game. And if you play that game 99 of 100 times, you're winning that football game. They didn't. It happens. It's why, Daboll's job was coming into question, whatever it may be. But if you feed through those weeds, get through that and see, okay, well, they should have won this game. Now you look at what they did yesterday. That's now 2 games in a row where they have played solid football. Didn't allow a touchdown a week before, scored 3 touchdowns offensively. And then yesterday you saw a performance where even though they got down early, they were able to battle back against Cleveland. Like, that's not going to happen very often. You fumble the opening kick like that, boom, 1 play, touchdown.
I think I've done that in, I think, 12, 13 years, fumble the opening kick.
So the fact that you could, a team that's 0-2, that hears all the calls and you know what's going on, outside the building, Daboll should be on the hot seat, all that nonsense that we dealt with all last week, down 7-0 like that, to be able to right the ship from there, I just thought that was an impressive win. Now, doesn't mean that the Giants are going to be a playoff team, no, but season back on to a certain extent, this was the game they had to win, BT, and I don't know how you could not watch that game and be impressed with the coaching staff.
Well, I think that you are. Now, I wonder, I know what I was thinking when that was going down early. I'm sitting there saying, oh, boy, this looks like it's going to get off the rails fast. Did you actually think?
I think gut instinct in that moment is Jesus.
I don't know how you don't think that.
Yeah, no, enough is fire everybody enough. They can't continue this. But,
well, I mean, not even like fire, just like how does this transform into a positive day, let alone season for the Giants where, all right, they should have beat the Commanders, but they didn't.
Yeah.
You're 0-2, you fumble a kick, first play, dot in the back of the end zone. So you're saying to yourself, oh, God, is this the day that Deshaun Watson wakes up and remembers that he's Deshaun Watson?
Yeah.
Then the Giants get the football. They go 3 and out. Then the Browns are 3rd and 2, and the Giants try to get an early stop. They jump off sides, and then it's just really nothing's going right. And I got to tell you, you're right. The play calling was really good. Daniel Jones was not great, but Daniel Jones was good. This is now 2 straight games. That, again, the Giants are in a very interesting place. Anytime, I heard Gio say this, and he's absolutely right. Like, every game doesn't have to be a referendum on Daniel Jones's career.
Right.
It just doesn't. But I'll tell you, you watch the red zone, you do fantasy, you bounce around, you watch these games. I mean, how many quarterbacks yesterday were truly better than Daniel Jones?
Well, we'll get to that.
But I'm saying for me, I'll get to it now. Yeah. The answer's not many. And
come on, dude. Then let's get to it now. I mean, Daniel Jones stinks.
Daniel Jones stinks now.
Yeah. No. He's always stunk.
So
if you watch that game yesterday, and that's why I wanted to focus on Daboll to start the show. If you want to get into Daniel Jones, we could do that. He stinks.
Well, he's the quarterback. So we go get.
Understood. If the Giants had a real quarterback, like part of my thought process, if the Giants have players that could actually execute, and they do have some players. Look around at the defense. We know what they have there. If they had a quarterback that could actually throw the ball with some accuracy, it would have been a blowout. It wouldn't have been competitive.
Well, I mean, there's a difference.
Also, to your point, he should have thrown
the Neighbors saved them on the play. There's no doubt. You're talking about the one where Neighbors just jumped over and just 50-50 it up.
The penalty. The penalty early on.
Yeah. Please, I'm not saying. That's why I said it's not a referendum on Jones, and it's about the contract and the guy and the draft. No, I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is, in my opinion, obviously you disagree. You give him a functional team around him, and I think that once again, Daniel Jones showed that. He's give him a little time and give a couple of weapons. He's going to give his team a chance to at least compete. That's all I'm saying. I'm not elevating the bar.
Right.
I'm not making this more than it is. I mean, we're year 6.
Right.
Understood. And there's been the good, the bad, the indifferent, the injuries, the different coaches, all the different things we've hit a million times. But to me, I'm just talking about my inner confidence. Like, I watched Deshaun Watson, and I'm like, no matter what they do, this guy's done. He is lost. He is fried. He is mentally cooked. He is shot. I watched Daniel Jones, and I'm like, all right. You give him a little time. You give him a couple of weapons. They got a chance.
I think it was more about, to me, the first time looking at the infrastructure of this team, saying, okay, well, the offensive line's significantly better. Coach knows what he's doing. He knows how to utilize his weapons. Look at Malik Nabers and how he wants to, go to the well with him for different things, even if he wants to get the tight end involved. The coach knows what he's doing. Defensively, same thing. They have a bunch of guys just figuring out how to utilize them. When are you going to be aggressive with Burns or Thibodeau? Let Dexter Lawrence wreak some havoc. So those things are there, but you you also saw in that game, or at least I saw it, where there were throws that, I mean, Daniel Jones just can't throw an accurate pass down the field. I mean, it drives me up a wall.
Well, the thing with Jones is now, we're at a point with him where when the throws aren't there, we illuminate them. When the good throws are there, we ignore them. That's kind of where we're at.
I don't think we're ignoring them. I think I think Jones has proven to be a quarterback who obviously can win some games. But
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, then we're not really debating much there. I don't disagree wildly there.
Right.
I'm not on a different page with Daniel Jones. It just goes to show you, whether it's Sam Darnold, whether it's whomever. I mean, if you're put in a position where there's an element of functionality with the core of a team, whether it's the playbook or the offensive line. Most of these guys, unless you're just a complete scrub, are going to give you a chance to win. And, if Singletary can start holding on to the football, you start to, Robinson flashed, Nabers is the beast. They took a shot deep with Hyatt early. They opened up the playbook a little bit. You come home Thursday, and we'll get to Thursdays. We'll get deeper in the week here. But bottom line is the season saved. I think the Giant fans enjoyed it. But I'd be lying if I said the first 5 minutes of this game, I thought they had that in them. I thought they were cooked.
BT and Sal on the Fan, 888-808-1019. Our friends at Town Fair Tire remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires. From Connecticut to Maine, nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Brad is in Mineola. What's up, Brad?
So, Sal, I just want to start. I know I'm not going to call you guys later. What a beautiful series for the Mets this weekend, 3 out of 4. But I digress, and I love it. And let's go Mets. Big week ahead of us. Now, what I do want to say is this. Malik Nabers is a generational talent. Malik Nabers has been given, has had so many comparisons so far. And he is a great receiver, and he saved Daniel Jones yesterday. That's a given. What worries me is that he was up against the second and third corner in that first half, and he absolutely mossed them, to use an adjective there. But in the second half, Denzel Ward locked him down. I love Malik Nabers. I love what he's going to bring to the equation. He played a great first half. But what worries me is that if he goes up against the one, seemed like he was overmatched by Denzel Ward.
No. Listen, first of all, Denzel Ward's phenomenal. I mean, Denzel Ward is a very good player, number one. Number two, Malik Nabers has played 3 games. I mean, I don't know what this portends for the next, health, and because you just don't know with football. But watching Malik Nabers play a few games here, and you knew my opinion coming in. I thought the Giants crushed it I loved him when I used the word superstar. I think I may have gotten that one right. Like I see, you look around the landscape. Does he really look different from a Judge or a Brunson or a Shesterkin or a young Odell Beckham or any other of the superstars now, the pantheon of New York sports? My answer is no. I mean, the body control, just when you see it, you know it. This kid is unreal.
Yeah,
Malik Nabers is a beast.
I wouldn't get caught up in him getting shut down by Denzel Ward in the second half. I mean, some of the best receivers of all time, Hall of Famers, have gotten shut down by great cornerbacks, and it's not even that. To BT's point, it's week 3. I mean, let him play. I think he's better than Odell Beckham Jr. I think he's been
I do too.
In 3 weeks, he's been more impactful.
I do too.
Than any. Like Odell made one-handed catch, and everybody wanted to get caught up in it. Ooh, Odell. Malik Nabers is actually a football player, a real-life superstar football player that also gets it. He's not an immature idiot like Odell was, certainly when he first started, and actually even at the end. I mean, there was a reason the Giants had to get rid of him, and also he's just better. Nabers, to me, has shown better skill set than Odell Beckham Jr., but that's just if you want to compare those two. But look at the way that he was used yesterday, and even in week 2, the way the Giants are force-feeding their superstar in Malik Nabers. It's been a great weapon to have for Brian Daboll on that offense, but it's also key that he knows how to use him. Sean is in Orlando, Florida. What's up, Sean?
Hey, BT Sal, what's up, boys? How you guys doing?
What's up, Sean?
How are you?
Hey, not much, man. Hey, a couple things I can say is I'm really impressed with the O-line, and I feel like is it Daniel Jones maybe after week 1? I feel like he hadn't played since that Vegas game. Maybe he was still. I think he was having a lot of cold feet in there because the trust factor. But if you look from week 2 on, he's actually now standing in the pocket, not looking like antsy anymore. And Sal, I do agree with you. I think if he can hit these deep throws,
but he can't
turn the offense to another. I know. I agree with you. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, and he's not even close, Sean. He's overthrowing by 5 yards, for God's sake, every time.
And I actually was worried that underthrowing these guys because of their speed, but you're right. He's overthrowing them by 5-6 yards. If he could hit these throws, this could expand that offense to a whole new level.
Yeah,
Because Nabers be getting these guys beat by 3 yards, and then he's beating Nabers by like 5 yards.
if he could do that, though, Sean, and thank you for the call, he'd be a good quarterback. I mean, if you could throw an accurate deep ball, you'd be Eli Manning, and he's not. And not only that, the decision-making, he got away with something. Like the Giants, I don't want to say they're winning in spite of Daniel Jones because he did some good, BT, and you're right, like that shouldn't be overlooked. But ultimately, when you're looking at his team trying to say, well, how come they couldn't pull away from Cleveland, or why was it close in the beginning, or, with the mistakes that Jones was making, like, they're fortunate that the penalty got called for the first one. Daboll talked about the biggest play Nabers made was knocking that second one down.
Yeah.
And then also there was a deep touchdown. He had Nabers. Nabers would have had 3 touchdowns. But Jones overthrew him. He can't throw the ball with accuracy. It's frustrating.
Well, listen, I mean, that's a skill you either possess or you don't. It's much like a starting pitcher. You either throw hard or you don't. Like, I think that's kind of innately in you. That's just a depth perception thing. So he's never going to be strong, elite throwing the ball down the field. But, the first play to Hyatt, I'll give you the example. So the Nabers thing's very different. But I like that they opened up the playbook, and just even if you don't connect, it loosens things up a little bit. Now, Singletary's got to start holding on to the football.
Yeah.
That's it. Now, he is dynamic, and he's like a little Saquon light. And we told you this. Like, he is a talented running back. If he starts holding on to the football and they can connect, one every 3, 4, 5 shots down the field and just present that on film and give the defense something to think about. Now it's a different offensive presentation. But that first one to Hyatt, and I know that you're talking about the Nabers one, and that was on Jones, there's no doubt. But the first one to Hyatt, I think if people say, it's a bad throw, it's lazy. Because if you watch that play, you got he's triple teamed. So and it's hard to decipher this from the couch, but sometimes, guys, and you have to know this, when a quarterback, when you see a ball, fly over somebody's head, you're like, geez, you're not even close. So first of all, Jalen Hyatt didn't win the route. I mean, step for step, as fast as he was covered, and you got the safety rolling over. There's 3-on-1. So if you're a quarterback, you're like, there's nothing there. Let me fire this intentionally 5 yards past him and live to see another down.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
So Jones must be doing that on every deep ball he throws.
No, I'm just saying on that one.
He's not accurate.
Well, how many deep balls does he throw a game? I mean, I'm just giving you the first one that he threw was not because Daniel Jones doesn't throw a good deep ball. It's because he was triple covered.
I've had on my notes they played 3 games so far. So for all 3 weeks, this is not just today, Jones cannot throw the deep ball with accuracy. So this is not just yesterday. He can't do it. He doesn't do it. Plus, he still makes stupid decisions. I mean, I love the win from yesterday. I think it's about coaching. And you could see the infrastructure with the better offensive line, with a solid running back in place, with a superstar weapon like Malik Nabers, even with serviceable players elsewhere, whether it's tight end or Wan'Dale Robinson or other receivers.
Yeah, Robinson was good.
It's all there. Defensively is a different story, but that's there too. It's there. The quarterback, to me, is an issue that's going to hold them back big picture long term. All right, we'll get